Hello everybody, Tom here. I used Godot and C-Sharp to make my version of Pong. This is the first game from a 20 games challenge, and in this video I will share with you my journey. Let's start with a little bit of context. The year 2024 just started. I was playing Hollow Knight and thought, hey, I can code a little, so let's make a game. I didn't want to overscope for a first ever game dev project. Then Metroidvania it is. I found some ninja style assets and made a prototype which was bad. It took a lot of time, so I decided game dev is not for me and quit. Time passed and the little spark of this dream slowly became a fire again. This time I wanted to start really small and learn all the tools a solo developer will need. I wasn't sure where to start. I didn't want to follow tutorials on YouTube because I was scared to fall into a tutorial hell. Then, on some video, I stumbled upon a 20 games challenge, a description of 20 popular games with details on basic game mechanics and a roadmap of increasing difficulty. So, in June 2025, I decided to give it a try. Started with deciding what game engine to use. I work as a software developer and professionally use C#, so I knew I could choose from a few options. Unity, Godot, Monogame and Flux were top contenders in that fight. Knowing this is my side project, I wanted to do it relatively quickly. Monogame was the first layoff. No GUI is cool for Git, but would cause a lot of additional work for me. I couldn't really trust that Unity would not come back with some brilliant runtime fee idea again. So, second one off the table. Finally, I had to decide between Flux and Godot. And in the deepest part of my heart, I really wanted to use Flux, because the main developer comes from the same country as me and apes together strong. But unfortunately, there is not a lot of support for 2D games in Flux, so I finished with Godot. So, the engine chosen, now let's get to work. First game in the 20 games challenge is of course Pong. I did it once in Unity around 2 years ago, so I had a brief idea what I have to do in here. To be sure I will not lose too much time on all of those games, I gave myself a time limit as suggested in the 20 games challenge. 20 hours per game. This is how it went. On the first day, to avoid losing time for thinking about what I have to do each afternoon, I created a to-do list in Trello and modified it 1000 times during challenge. On the next day, I made a black back screen, created a ball and made it move, added upper and lower wall to reflect the moving ball and fixed issues with debugging from Visual Studio Code. So from the previous shenanigans with Godot, I remember that I hated the signals functionality in C#. Having that in mind, I decided to use an event bus pattern, big shoutout to the Git Amend YouTube channel. Most of the implementation was fairly easy, but had some issues with autoloads. After looking for answers on every possible forum, I found out that the solution was super simple. I had to delete project and solution files and then go to Godot, project, tools, create solution. On this day I figured out that I forgot to make a repo and fixed that. Having the event bus pattern up and running, I added my first event, bot hit wall, and stumbled upon another issue. It turns out that when using move and collide, what engine returns is a kinematic collision 2D that doesn't give any straightforward information about the object we collided with. This made publishing proper events more difficult. To negate that problem, I worked on some methods that firstly checked in what group a collider belongs to and then raised the correct event. Good for now, in the future I will probably have to think about something better. No issues that day. Added loose area, score, and everything that was necessary for it to work. Visual Studio Code started to irritate me, so I moved to Visual Studio Community. Also, I had to tweak the position of walls because they were triggering events about an object hitting loose area. Added player movement and ball reflection from the player. Simple, just changing the direction of a ball, both on X and Y axis. No code changes that day, just me trying to figure out how reflection should work. The idea was to divide the player into segments and depending on which one the collision happened, change the angle of collision accordingly. Trigonometry at its finest. Failed to achieve that. Half of the challenge behind me. I was still fighting with the player ball collision. All my math should be working, but for some reason still had issues. After many sessions of debugging, I found out that the problem was between a keyboard and a chair, of course. So, because I'm lazy, I wanted to save some time and just simply made a white bar in Paint and used it as a texture for my player. And of course, I did not care about its size and just scaled in the engine. And it took me a lot of time to notice that the sprite getHeight method returns a not scaled value. After calculating the actual size of the player's sprite, collisions started working as I wanted them to. On this day, I didn't have a lot of time, so just some quick cleanup in the code, mostly in ball hit player event. Next day, I started to work on restart functionality. After losing a point, I wanted to stop all movement, show label with information how to restart, and then resetting player and ball position to finally start moving again. Another day spent on restart functionality, mostly because I wanted to add a timer to wait for 3 seconds after resetting player and ball positions. I had to modify my event bus to also use asynchronous methods. Next day I wanted to add some modularity to player movement, because I wanted to reuse code for the opponent. Tried to use resources for that and failed. Because I started to feel pressure to just finish this Pong, I abandoned the idea of using resources for more modularity of player movement and just created a separate scene for opponent. Added simple AI, which every half second checks ball position and then moves to that direction. Little cleanup of code as well. This day was spent on adding a scene manager, simple main menu, and looking for free sounds on the internet to make collisions noisy. I didn't have a lot of time, so I only searched and added sound for winning and losing a game. Because it is my first project, I wanted to at least try to use everything that can be useful in the future. Last thing I wanted to add to my Pong was an impact wave on collisions, like some attacks in Fury. And spoiler alert, that was a stupid idea. So first I wanted to try to write my own shader for that. But being already past the 20 hours limit, I just looked for some on the internet. Found one, modified it, and couldn't make it to play just as a one animation. Animation! After trying for some time, I gave up on a shader idea and just drew a circle in Sprite and scaled it in the animation player. Not great, not bad either. The next day, feeling victorious after doing this impact wave animation, I had to tweak the Z index to prevent impact waves from going through walls. And a month later I finished Pong. Wow. I didn't expect that to take so much time, but hey, at least I did all the programming on my own and paid a price for being a newbie. Next, for some time I will try to write a script and create my first YouTube video and then Flappy Bird. Thanks for watching, and if you have any tips on what I could do differently or better, let me know in the comment section. See ya!